What's up guys, welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. Today is actually a sad episode, but I thought that it had to be done because I want to keep my viewers informed and up to date with the ups and the downs of goldfish keeping. So I thought that it was essential that I gave you this video. So if you want to find out more, make sure you stay tuned. Hey Fanatics family, welcome back. If you aren't already subscribed, then hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you can keep up to date with our triple upload weeks. Also, you're probably already part of the Facebook group, but if you aren't, the link's in the description. So, unfortunately, we can't all be doing happy and exciting videos every day. And unfortunately this week, I've lost one of my fish. My red and white ranchu is just a picture here. I hadn't noticed anything abnormal with this fish. It'd been eating well, acting normal. However, there's a couple of the fish that haven't been quite right for the past 2 or 3 weeks. And I wasn't quite sure what it was. Did the water tests, did water changes twice a week? And yeah, something not quite right. There was no flashing or flicking, scratching on the sand or the glass. So I wasn't inclined to think it was a parasitic issue. I will be doing a parasite diagnosis and how to guide and how to use a microscope. That's going to be a future video coming soon, so keep your eyes out for that one. And obviously it wasn't the water quality issue because I've been regularly testing ammonia and nitrite. So I think it's possibly a bacterial issue. As we know, the fish have different strengths of immune systems. So some fish can become weaker and more exposed faster than the rest of the group, which is why I think I've been noticing a couple fish slightly off. I'll try and overlay some images or some videos just here, just so you can see what the fish are doing. They're not quite as active, a little bit listless, and they hang out in the water column right at the top or right at the bottom of the tank, and I can just see that there's something not quite right. If you had never seen my fish before and you just came to look at them, you wouldn't see any problem at all, I'm sure, but because I observe them day in, day out, you kind of get to know their habits and the way they act. So I just wanted to keep you guys informed, and today I'm going to be doing a treatment on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a water change firstly, then I'm going to remove the carbon in the filter. I'm going to add salt at 3 parts per thousand. If you haven't already seen my video on salt that I did, I think it was last week or a few days ago, then definitely check that one out. And then I'm going to be adding aquaflavin and also bumping the temperature up slightly just to 24 degrees to make sure the fish's immune system is working efficiently. Aquaflavin isn't too harsh of a treatment, but it is quite good at knocking that bacteria down. Obviously it will affect my filter bacteria, but I will keep an eye on the nitrite levels and ammonia levels to make sure nothing goes wrong with those, and I will be observing the fish constantly to make sure that there is no adverse reaction to the treatment, and fingers crossed this will perk the fish back up and get them back to their normal selves. So without further ado, let's get on to the water change and then we can get the treatment in. So as you know, I like to use my 3-pod purifier when doing a water change. I've just got it hooked up here, just on the little bar stool, and then that will feed into the water butt. As you might see in the bottom, I've got the heater plugged in just so it's not too much of a temperature difference when I do the water change. So I'm just going to put the tap on and start to get that filling up a bit more. So hopefully you can see that the water's starting to fill up again. And unfortunately this takes about 3 hours to fill, but it's much better than just using the straight tap water. Because as you know, obviously we have quite a lot of contaminants in our tap water, so I just like to put it through this filter just to make sure the water is really nice and clean. Maybe some bacteria was even coming through the tap water. It's quite unlikely, but it's still possible. So once that's full, we'll get on with the water change and then we can add the treatment. So the water butt is nearly full now. I also got this new Hydem 300 watt heater, so I'm going to be bumping the temperature up to about 25 degrees, as I previously said. But the chemical I'm going to be using is actually Acroflavin by NT Labs. So I'm going to be dosing about 10 ml, which does 365 litres. My tank's about 320, and it's quite not too much of a strong treatment, so 10 ml will be fine. You can overdose, but even if I put double dose, it's not going to have too much of an impact, although it probably will knock back my filter a little bit more. And also, when I like to add the salt, I like to use this salt meter. So this is actually for koi, but does the same thing. So I can just put this in the water and then turn it on, and I can keep an eye on the level of salt within the water. I'm aiming for around 3 parts per thousand, which is 3 grams per litre. So in this size tank, just over 300 litres, I'm looking at around 900 to 950 grams of salt, which is quite a lot. But this will be a good level to help keep the fish at. And then, as per my salt video, I like to use the PDV salt. Here's the 25 kilo bag. Haven't got too much left, just a couple of kilos. It is upside down. So I'm gonna measure that out. We're gonna get on with the water change now, and then fill it back up, and then we're gonna add the treatments. And also I need to remember to remove the carbon, because this will remove any of the Acroflavin from the water. So as you saw, I've done the water change now. I didn't quite have enough water, but that's absolutely fine because the filter's still running and it's skimming the surface quite well now. I've also positioned the pump outlet just a little bit higher, just to get more surface agitation and surface area for oxygen exchange. I've got the salt measured out here, so we've got 900 grams, which will be about 3 parts per thousand. I can also use the salt device to measure the salinity as well. So I'm going to add this slowly over the next hour or so. So I'm just going to let it dissolve in this bowl and then slowly add it to the aquarium. And then also we need to do the Acroflavin as well. So that might not sit there, so I'm just going to leave the salt on the side. So then we've got the Acroflavin, so we're going to do 10 ml of this, and you'll see the water will go a lovely green colour. So let's get this measured out. So always good to give it a good shake, make sure it's all nicely shaken up. Put the lid straight in. So we've got the little measuring cup. So yeah, 10 ml. Perfect. And then let's watch this go into the water. So as you can see, it's a lovely nuclear luminous green colour. So just make sure we've got that all mixed in there. And then we've got the rest of the salt in the bowl that we're just going to slowly add. But as I said, I won't add all of this now. I'll introduce it slowly over the next hour. So the treatment's been in for about an hour now. The fish, hopefully you can see them from the camera shots, or if you can't, are acting absolutely fine, not stressed at all. So just shows that the dose rate isn't too hard for them. So I'm going to leave this in for 3 days, and then after 3 days I'm going to do a 40% water change to dilute it, and then I'm going to add the carbon back in. This carbon was only changed about 2 weeks ago, so it's still pretty good. Yeah, I want to keep that surface agitation. I might also add an air pump just to make sure there's enough oxygen for them. Also, I used the salt meter and it said there was 0.3%, which is 3 parts per thousand. So I did the correct dose of salt, which is perfect. So fingers crossed the rest of the fish do well. It's really a shame that I lost that red and white ranchu, but it's all part of the hobby, unfortunately, and we just got to learn from this and move on. So I'm hoping all the other fish will be okay. Unfortunately, this has pushed back the breeding plans. The fish was actually supposed to be collected tomorrow to start our calico spawning, but unfortunately that's been pushed back. We're still good to go ahead with adding the fish to the outdoor tank, the new tank, which, as I've said previously, is going to be arriving any day now. So we're going to put those out in 2-3 weeks, something like that, once that tank's all cycled and I know it's all running smoothly. So yeah, so fingers crossed. Thank you all for watching again. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate it. Make sure you keep up with your water changes. Make sure you keep your water quality in pristine conditions, because after all, we're looking after the water more than we're looking after the fish. Have a good rest of the day and happy fish keeping.